toxic soup of jet fuel, nuclear vibrations, and the scream of jet engines. You are 19, 40 hours without sleep, lost in a red-lit labyrinth where one wrong step means vanishing into a jet intake forever, when your mind hits the ultimate breaking point. How does an ordinary kid survive the most brutal 48-hour initiation in military history? Let's step into the steel matrix and explore the raw reality of life on an aircraft carrier. Right now, in the pitch-black waters of the Philippine Sea, a 100,000-ton steel apex predator is hunting at 30 knots. It is the USS Gerald R. Ford CVN-78, a $13 billion floating fortress powered by dual nuclear reactors and armed with a staggering 75 aircraft strike group. But let's strip away those massive engineering specs for a second. The true beating heart of this sovereign American territory isn't highly enriched uranium. It's the 5,000 exhausted human beings keeping it alive. You are now one of them, a 19-year-old recruit clutching a heavy sea bag at the top of a violently swaying gangway, stepping blindly into the abyss. Welcome to the most psychologically brutal 48 hours of your entire military existence. Forget the polished, cinematic glamour of Hollywood fighter pilots. You have just crossed the threshold into a ruthless, high-octane industrial war zone where global maritime dominance is carried squarely on the shoulders of terrified teenagers. The initial trauma isn't the deafening noise. It is the instantaneous, suffocating death of your personal space. You are assigned a rack, a freezing metal coffin measuring exactly 30 inches wide and 24 inches high, stacked 3 high in a room packed with 60 complete strangers. This claustrophobic, steel locker is your only sanctuary for the next 7 months of a combat deployment. And unfortunately, it sits just feet below the most dangerous 4.5 acres on Earth. Every 45 seconds, a 22-ton Super Hornet violently hooks an arresting wire directly above your head, sending a jarring, bone-rattling shockwave straight down your spine. Dust shakes from the overhead pipes into your exhausted eyes, while the acrid, inescapable
workout
stench
clothes
of
right here.
JP5 aviation fuel
Right here.
permanently burns the back of your
More toiletries.
You have been awake for 40 agonizing hours.
Yeah, pretty much all
Your
toiletries
body
in this
went
area.
entirely on raw adrenaline and bad coffee. Yet, your panicked brain absolutely refuses to shut down. Down in this subterranean labyrinth, daylight is a total myth. The berthing compartment is perpetually drenched in an eerie, blood-red tactical glow, designed not for sleep, but to preserve night vision so you can blind sprint to a battle station during a combat emergency. Standing completely paralyzed with a crumpled set of orders, you are hopelessly lost inside a windowless maze of 2,700 identical compartments, heavy, watertight doors, and knee-breaking, near-vertical ladders. Right now, you are merely a 9-digit social security number on a massive personnel manifest, but absolute perfection is demanded of you immediately. Miscalculate a single step on the active flight deck above, and you will be inhaled by the titanium blades of an F414 turbofan engine before you even realize you made a mistake. The mathematical margin for error in this punishing military ecosystem is strictly 0. But this paralyzing sensory overload is just the warm-up phase, because you are about to discover that securing a tiny metal box to sleep in is infinitely easier than surviving the logistical nightmare of your very first meal inside this sleepless steel city. Stepping into hour 12, the initial adrenaline dump aggressively wears off, leaving a hollow, clawing hunger violently twisting in your gut. But simply commuting to the mess decks to secure your first meal is a grueling physical gauntlet. Carrier like the USS Ford is a subterranean labyrinth, towering 18 decks high, connected entirely by a treacherous, knee-knocking network of near-vertical ladders. You must quickly adopt the hyper-focused balance of a seasoned acrobat, keeping one hand gripped tightly on the rails to absorb the ship's unpredictable, bone-jarring 15-degree rolls across the ocean swells. When you finally heave open the heavy, 200-pound, watertight hatch to the galley, you step into one of the most staggering logistical anomalies in modern military history. Sustaining 5,000 combat-ready souls in the middle of a hostile ocean requires the supply department to relentlessly churn out up to 18,000 high-calorie meals every single day. From a strategic standpoint, this isn't just a matter of cooking, it is a vital combat multiplier. A warship with a starving or malnourished crew is a mathematically dead warship, making the supply officers down here just as critical to national security as the fighter pilots above. The sheer mathematical volume of daily consumption defies civilian comprehension. Deep inside the sweltering 110-degree kitchen spaces, culinary specialists are aggressively managing vats of soup measured in hundreds of gallons, alongside walk-in freezers packed with 4,000 pounds of chicken and 3,000 dozen eggs just to survive a single week. Yet, amidst the deafening clatter of metal trays and shouting cooks, the serpentine chow line serves as the ultimate equalizer. You will see a highly decorated, combat-hardened F-35C pilot standing quietly right behind a 19-year-old deck sweeper whose uniform is permanently stained with synthetic grease. But that fleeting 20-minute illusion of normalcy violently shatters the exact second you report to your division for indoctrination. Here, the Navy strips away your specialized technical rating and forcefully rewires your brain with the most terrifying reality of maritime warfare. It does not matter if you are a nuclear physicist, an intelligence analyst, or a cook. Your primary non-negotiable job on this $13 billion vessel is a firefighter. Out here, deep in the contested waters of the South China Sea or the Persian Gulf, calling 911 is a physical impossibility. Within your first 24 hours, you are abruptly issued an M50 protective gas mask, a self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA packing 4,500 pounds per square inch of compressed air, and a heavy, flame-retardant firefighting ensemble, FFE. You are strictly ordered to memorize the exact locations of high-pressure, aqueous film-forming foam, AFFF stations, and critical isolation valves hidden within your assigned sector. Why this intense, obsessive paranoia? Because if a hostile anti-ship cruise missile violently breaches the hull, or a catastrophic JP-5 fuel pipe ruptures below deck, you and the terrified teenagers standing next to you are the only rescue force within a 1,000 nautical mile radius. This paralyzing concept is hammered into your raw psyche at the absolute worst possible moment. Just as your exhausted body finally collapses into your freezing rack at midnight, a piercing, electronic gong suddenly shatters the silence, vibrating directly through your skull. The ship's public address system, the 1MC aggressively screams the most blood-chilling phrase in the United States Navy. General's quarters, general quarters. All hands man your battle stations. The berthing compartment instantly erupts into organized, violent chaos as you scramble blindly through the red-lit passageways. You are violently shoved against the steel bulkheads by shipmates racing in the opposite direction, frantically slamming shut and dogging down heavy watertight doors to set Condition Zebra, the maximum state of survivability designed to prevent the ship from flooding. Sweating profusely inside your heavy gear, the abstract concept of military duty suddenly becomes a terrifying matter of immediate life and death. You realize that a single moment of hesitation from anyone aboard could instantly turn this engineering marvel into a mass steel grave at the bottom of the ocean. But just as your heart rate finally stabilizes from the claustrophobic damage control drill, you are brutally ordered to ascend from the suffocating depths of the ship into a completely different kind of hell, a chaotic, high-octane environment where a single misstep guarantees you will not live to see tomorrow. Welcome to Hour 36. You finally throw your entire body weight against the heavy steel pressure hatch leading to the O4 level, stepping out onto the roof of the USS Gerald R. Ford, instantly, you are physically assaulted by the wind over deck, WOD, to launch aircraft. The 100,000-ton carrier turns directly into the wind and accelerates to 30 knots, combining with ambient ocean gales to create a perpetual hurricane force 50-knot headwind. You are standing on 4.5 acres of abrasive, non-skid steel, a pitching, rolling slab of sovereign U.S. territory that the Naval Institute routinely classifies as the most unforgiving, lethal industrial environment on Earth. Up here,
The human voice is biologically useless. The ambient noise from turning jet engines consistently hovers at a skull-crushing 150 decibels. Even with mandatory double hearing protection, dense foam earplugs seated deep beneath a rigid cranial helmet, the roar vibrates violently through your teeth, ribs, and sternum.
Survival relies entirely on a highly evolved, color-coded visual language. This rainbow of heavy jerseys isn't a nod to military tradition. It is a desperate, hyper-efficient choreography designed solely to prevent mass casualties. Look closely at the purple shirts, affectionately known as grapes. They are fighting a ceaseless, high-pressure logistics war, executing a terrifying maneuver called hot refueling. They are tasked with pumping highly combustible JP-5 aviation fuel into an FA-18 E-Super Hornet at 50 gallons per minute, all while the aircraft's twin General Electric F414 turbofans are still spooling and blasting 400-degree Fahrenheit exhaust just feet away. The deck is slick with hydraulic fluid and corrosive salt water. A single ungrounded static discharge or a dropped steel wrench sparking on the deck could instantly ignite a catastrophic inferno, turning a multi-million-dollar fighter into a massive thermobaric bomb.
A few feet away, the red shirts aviation ordnance men are performing a psychological tightrope walk that completely defies human survival instinct. They are manually hoisting live 1,000-pound GBU 32 JDAM smart bombs, packed with tritonal high explosives, onto the wing pylons of a vibrating jet. Doing this in a sterile, brightly lit laboratory is dangerous. Doing it on a steel deck pitching 10 degrees in the Pacific swells, blinded by raw jet exhaust and battered by hurricane winds, requires a level of compartmentalized focus that borders on the superhuman. Suddenly, a yellow shirt shooter drops to one knee, aggressively touching the deck before throwing his hand forward in a sharp, iconic lunge. Beneath the deck plates, the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, EMALS, instantly and violently discharges millions of amps of raw electrical current in exactly 3.0 seconds. A fully loaded 44,000-pound fighter is brutally accelerated from a dead stop to 165 miles per hour. The catapult stroke generates the kinetic equivalent of 100,000 horsepower, slamming the pilot back into their ejection seat with 4 Gs of force and leaving behind a deafening sonic crack that punches you right in the chest. Simultaneously, on the angled recovery deck, the most violent controlled event in modern aviation is unfolding: the trap. An E-2D Advanced Hawkeye drops out of the sky, aggressively slamming his 30,000-pound airframe directly onto the steel plates at 140 miles per hour. Its titanium tailhook violently catches the number 3 arresting wire, the advanced arresting gear. AAG water turbines below deck instantaneously absorb over 40 million foot-pounds of kinetic energy, brutally decelerating the aircraft to a dead stop in a mere 320 feet. If that 1.5-inch thick braided steel cable snaps under the immense tension, it will whip across the deck at supersonic speeds, effortlessly cutting through landing gear, bulkheads, and human bone.
As a rookie, your situational awareness must be nothing short of genius level. You must constantly scan for invisible, lethal killers. A jet intake consumes up to 3,000 cubic feet of air per second. Step too close, and the vacuum will violently inhale you into the spinning titanium fan blades before you can even scream. The absolute golden rule of carrier aviation is violently drilled into your skull. Never, under any circumstances, walk backward. One blind step in reverse guarantees a gruesome execution. To mitigate this constant specter of death, you witness the entire crew abruptly halt all flight operations to form a massive shoulder-to-shoulder human chain. This is the FOD walkdown, foreign object debris. 500 highly trained sailors slowly march across the 4.5 acres, meticulously hunting for a single stray bolt, a rogue piece of safety wire, or a dropped penny. Because if a jet engine ingests a 50-cent piece of metal, it will instantly detonate a $4 million turbine. But as the sun finally violently dips below the Pacific horizon and the massive flight deck is plunged into total, terrifying darkness, The physical exhaustion of the day is abruptly replaced by a much heavier, invisible enemy, the crushing psychological weight of extreme isolation. Welcome to hour 48. The sun violently extinguishes below the Philippine Sea, instantly plunging the 100,000-ton leviathan into a terrifying, ink-black void. This is when the crushing psychological weight of extreme isolation truly suffocates your exhausted mind. The ship abruptly enters MCON emission control, a strict tactical communications blackout designed to hide the carrier's electromagnetic signature from hostile anti-ship missile radars.
You are suddenly 5,000 miles away from your family, floating directly over the 35,000-foot deep Mariana Trench, and you absolutely cannot send a single text message home. Meanwhile, just a few decks above you, the absolute pinnacle of military aviation terror is unfolding: night ops. There are no glowing, comfortable runway lights guiding multi-million-dollar jets home, only a violently pitching deck heaving 15 feet vertically in the unpredictable ocean swells. A pilot approaching at 150 miles per hour in pitch darkness relies entirely on a tiny, swaying cluster of optical lenses called the meatball, IFLOLS, and the glowing wands of a 20-year-old yellow shirt. Down here in the deafening 150 decibel darkness, you are surviving purely on muscle memory and raw, primal instinct. But as your grueling 14-hour shift finally concludes, a profound strategic reality begins to permanently rewrite your DNA.
You retreat to the skin-chilling air conditioning of the ship's USO lounge, staring at a crumpled photograph, and suddenly realize your immense geopolitical purpose. You're not merely sailing on a boat, you are actively projecting undisputed American hegemony across the globe. When a Nimitz or Ford-class carrier strike group drops anchor in the contested South China Sea or transits the volatile Strait of Hormuz, it acts as a localized 100,000-ton diplomatic sledgehammer. This single vessel is capable of delivering 150 precision combat sorties a day, packing more devastating firepower than the entire militaries of most sovereign nations. By enduring this claustrophobic steel prison, you are personally underwriting the security of 80% of global maritime trade. You are the invisible, heavily armed shield, ensuring that 20 million barrels of crude oil can safely transit through global choke points every single day. If this floating fortress and its 75 aircraft carrier Air Wing CVW disappear, the fragile global supply chain collapses and international law devolves into absolute chaos. This staggering, world-altering reality rests entirely upon the grease-stained, exhausted shoulders of the enlisted sailor. Hollywood blockbusters will endlessly glorify the elite, officer-ranked Top Gun aviators. But those $100 million F-35C fighter jets are mathematically useless pieces of static aluminum without you. They cannot fly without the 19-year-old aviation bosun's mate meticulously maintaining the 1,500 psi steam valves of the catapults in 120-degree heat. The ship itself cannot even move without the machinist's mates sweating in the subterranean nuclear reactor spaces, or the logistics specialists rationing 400,000 gallons of potable water daily. The immense world-ending power of the United States military does not inherently come from highly enriched uranium or laser-guided munitions. It is powered directly by the sleep-deprived exhaustion, the shattered circadian rhythms, and the silent sacrifice of the working-class teenagers turning the heavy wrenches. These unsung heroes trade their youth, their personal freedom, and their physical comfort to successfully operate the most lethal and complex weapon system in human history. They are the true, unyielding beating heart of America's maritime dominance. In this punishing, high-octane crucible, the sterile military concept of a division violently morphs into a literal blood family. The 60 strangers stacked tightly in your claustrophobic berthing compartment are no longer just random faces in the eerie red light. They are the exact, fiercely loyal people who will aggressively drag your unconscious body from a toxic, smoke-filled corridor at 3 a.m. if a catastrophic Class Bravo fire erupts. You eat together, you bleed together, and you endure endless bone-crushing 18-hour shifts together, forming an unbreakable psychological bond that civilian life can never replicate. As your first 48 hours brutally conclude, an irreversible transformation takes place. You stop flinching when the 22-ton Super Hornets violently slam into the deck plates mere inches above your face. The acrid chemical stench of JP5 aviation fuel no longer makes you gag. It simply smells like a normal Tuesday. You are no longer a terrified civilian clutching a sea bag. You have been successfully forged in the most punishing, unforgiving maritime furnace on planet Earth. You have officially survived the ultimate initiation. But the grueling mission is far from over. Ahead of you lie 7 agonizing months of relentless combat patrols, punishing Category 4 typhoons, and the immense quiet pride of holding the line between global order and absolute tyranny. You are a United States Navy sailor, a vital, living component of the undisputed apex predator of the oceans. The sea is unforgiving. The geopolitical stakes are uncompromising, and your watch has just officially begun. If this deep dive gave you a profound new respect for the grueling reality our sailors face every single day, honor their incredible sacrifice by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel right now. We are dedicated to bringing you the raw, unfiltered truth of military history and strategic analysis every week. Share this video to ensure the world remembers the silent, exhausted warriors who give up everything to keep the wolves at bay. Welcome to the fleet, shipmate.